Donald Trump is returning to a strategy that previously shaped his administration's foreign policy towards Iran, this time with even greater intensity. Sources close to the former president suggest that he plans to revive his maximum pressure campaign, a strategy designed to crush Iran's nuclear ambitions and its growing influence in the Middle East. This approach centers on exerting crippling economic sanctions to force Tehran to abandon its nuclear weapons development program and curb its involvement in regional conflicts. At the heart of the renewed maximum pressure strategy is a focus on Iran's oil exports, which are essential to the country's economy. The U.S. is expected to implement even harsher sanctions, targeting Tehran's oil revenue, thereby choking off the financial lifeblood that Iran uses to fund its military and nuclear programs. With the U.S. seeking to cut off Iran's access to international markets for its oil, this move is designed to push Iran into a dire economic situation, ultimately forcing the Iranian government to concede to international demands. However, Iran has already warned against what some are calling maximum pressure 2.0, a reference to the enhanced version of the previous strategy. Iranian leaders, who have repeatedly rejected U.S. demands, have warned that these efforts will lead to further tension and instability in the region. Tehran's hardline stance, particularly under the leadership of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, suggests that the Iranian government will not easily bow to pressure. Iran has demonstrated resilience in the face of sanctions before, and there is skepticism about whether intensified sanctions will succeed in altering its policies. Trump's hawkish advisors, including those who advocated for the withdrawal from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal, are pushing for a stronger economic chokehold, hoping to exploit Iran's vulnerability. Their aim is to cripple Iran's economy further, isolate the country on the world stage, and force it back to the negotiating table under terms more favorable to U.S. interests. The goal is to compel Tehran to engage in talks that would limit its nuclear capabilities, curtail its support for regional proxy forces, and accept stricter international oversight. However, this renewed strategy comes with considerable risks. For one, it could further inflame tensions in the region, particularly with U.S. allies and adversaries. Iran has a history of defiant responses to external pressure, including military reprisals and the use of proxy forces to destabilize neighboring countries. The risk of military escalation is high, as Iran could retaliate by targeting U.S. interests in the Middle East or by enhancing its support for hostile groups. On the other hand, it is also possible that the increased sanctions could lead to a shift in Iran's calculus, particularly if the economic toll becomes too great. But whether this would compel Iran to negotiate or provoke more defiance remains uncertain. The effectiveness of the maximum pressure campaign will likely depend on how well the U.S. can build international consensus for its approach, maintain the economic pressure on Iran, and deal with the geopolitical consequences of pushing the regime into a corner. In the coming months, it will become clearer whether this strategy leads to a breakthrough in negotiations or if it exacerbates existing tensions, pushing both sides into an even more confrontational stance. The outcome could determine the future direction of U.S.-Iran relations, and, by extension, the security dynamics of the entire Middle East.